you. Carver and Cuthbert with you. Go Sports Radio from Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island, as it is a beautiful January day down here in Long Beach. 2026 is here, right? First show of 2026 for us.
Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year, right? I guess I feel like we had a weird schedule for a few weeks, and now we're back in the right pattern. So now it is fair to say Happy New Year.
Back in the
This
groove.
is the first show of 2026 for us here with Go Sports Radio, of course. A very big show today. NFL now turns to the playoffs. A big wild card weekend. Lots of coaching news, including, of course, with the New York Football Giants, who are off and running with lots of potential candidates. We have got the college football playoff semis. We've got a lot of hockey. Nothing like a 9-0 game at the horse track to get you going. A big win down at the Winter Classic for the Rangers. Now they got a long haul probably with Jonathan Quick for a little while here. We'll see. See how that goes for them. Knicks have not been playing well. Very, very busy. Mike Carver with you, along with Paul Cuthbert. Hi, Paul. How you doing?
Good afternoon, buddy. And again, Happy New Year to you and everybody listening. And it's beautiful down here, man. I had the windows down today, buddy. Cranking some
Did you?
AC/DC and some Van Halen on the strip on the way down to the LBC, buddy.
Let's go.
It's nice. I think we're going to hit 50 degrees this week, buddy.
Might. Is that true?
Yeah,
That could
well,
happen?
I
I hope
think,
so, because
Friday, you think?
the rain last night annoyed me because I was getting ready today or tomorrow to take all the Christmas decorations down from the lawn. And I looked and I saw Friday's the rain, so I got 2 days. Then it rained last night because you can't bring them in when they're all wet. You need them to dry out a little bit.
Yeah, it's
It'd be nice if the sun hit them a bit today and tomorrow, and we could maybe then get a little
Soften
dry.
the ground up. Get
Soften
those,
the ground
you
up.
know,
Get
the blow-ups out.
Get all the
everything
blow-ups. I got all the blow-ups out on the lawn. We got to get them up. Everything's got to be out this by Saturday.
And
I
we
want
got
it
to
all
get
done,
ready for
and we turn the page.
Valentine's Day. It's next, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's probably the next one. Or St.
Hey, if you got red lights on the house right now, let's keep them up.
St. Patrick's Day as well.
Buddy.
Just beyond that, get us a pint to get us going. But we are here with you, of course, down at Borrelli's Taproom. We'll tell you in a little while everything that's going to be going on down here. Let's start, Paulie, of course. The NFL regular season is over, completed, finished. For some fan bases and teams, that would be thank God. For others, they move on to this weekend, which we will touch on later on, as we have 6 matchups, super wild card weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. Everybody gets super excited. But before you get there, when the season ends on Sunday, of course, is the next phase of the NFL, the first phase of the NFL offseason, which is, of course, chop down. Usually it's chop down day, but sometimes, like with the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh, it lingers into a couple days later, which is what happened with him last night. And you get coaches getting chopped. You get situations around the league. Who needs a coach? Who's firing the coordinators? All sorts of things. So a very crazy time in the NFL right now. But the New York Football Giants here in town take center stage. We have talked about this for a long time because obviously they fired Brian Daboll months ago. Mm-hmm. Joe Shane is going to be the general manager. We kind of had an idea of that, and that was made confirmed, although I'm going to give you a scenario in a little bit where maybe he won't be. I think there is one scenario where maybe he wouldn't be the Giant general manager.
Looking forward to that.
Going forward. But we have sat here and told you, or at least I have, that the one thing that I thought was super important for the Giants this offseason was to get a head coach who has NFL head coaching experience, pedigree around the league, knows how to be a head coach. They have had so many swings and misses with guys giving them the first opportunity that they cannot go after that again. And wouldn't you know it, Paulie, they have really not one, not two. We've known McCarthy, and that's been a name people have thrown around, but they have one in particular, guys that I think would be a decent fit, would be a real good fit, that are now available. And this was a scenario that you were hoping for as a Giant fan. And when the Ravens fired John Harbaugh, it opened the door. And I know everyone wants him, but it's time to go ahead and get him with him now being available.
Yeah, man. Just a shock yesterday. The news breaking that's the evening, 5, 6 o'clock. So, it changes the whole landscape. I mean, in perspective, too, maybe you could wait until after the playoffs and you could maybe have a couple more coaches to look at, too. But, things moved real fast. I mean, I don't know. I mean, would you have thought that Harbaugh might have been fired eventually with the loss last weekend? Were you surprised how quick it was? I mean, it's obviously a no-brainer here, but you would say that. But do the Giants have to move quick now to get him? Is he interested in coming here, or do they wait? I mean, it's a good situation and also a tricky situation in terms of how they got to play this right now.
Right. And it is a very tricky situation because he wasn't fired for an hour last night from Baltimore, which was a situation, if you listen to all of the insiders, that the brass of the Baltimore Ravens, general manager Eric DeCosta and other guys there, they did not necessarily want Harbaugh to be gone. This was an ownership decision from Biscotti that he thought it was time after 18 years to cut with Harbaugh. And listen, just for them on a sidebar here, that's a dangerous road to hoe because you've had a guy and stability. And I know I know you say only one Super Bowl. Super Bowls are not easy to come by. He's won a Super Bowl. He's in the playoffs almost every single year. You're always competitive. And to cut ties with him, look, you never know how that's going to go. Is the grass going to be greener on the other side for them? We shall see. But as far as he goes for the Giants, as soon as he was gone, not even an hour, they all started tweeting it. 7 teams have already reached out to Harbaugh's agent. Well, there's only 7 openings. One of them is the Ravens, obviously the Ravens. So we already got teams who haven't gotten rid of their coach that are reaching out, dipping their toe in the water to see if he's available. He is obviously the most coveted guy. And I think the type of jobs that are available, this is not going to be a situation where he's going to, some guys like to sit on the sideline for a year and maybe, kind of count their money a little bit and wait it out, wait for the right job to come. I think that there's a few jobs here that he's not going to need to do that. And there could be, these mystery team jobs that we don't know about that are probably pretty good situations as well that he could potentially go into. But this is a potential home run situation for the Giants. They have to go full court press on Harbaugh. They have got to, the reports are that they're meeting with Stefanski today, who also was fired from the Browns, who does check a lot of the boxes we have talked about, head coaching experience in the league, offensive mind, things like that. But if you have the opportunity to get a John Harbaugh as your head coach, you cannot let it slip away. And this is an important thing for the Giants coming up here in the next cut. Look, sometimes these things take some time.
So on that, if it takes longer, do you think that's a Harbaugh waiting on things? Maybe other options, money, finances.
Generally, when the
situation, even
when the NFL offseason starts in recent history, guys aren't hired within a couple days. It really, there's also a lot of league rules now. You have to interview, candidates, Rooney Rule type of things. You have to interview, there's other things. You have to interview a bunch of candidates. Could some guys just go, say screw it and just go and hire them? Yeah, I guess. And then you have to deal with the league and the aftermath of that afterwards. But judging by the fact that there could be these quote unquote mystery teams involved, potentially teams that lose this weekend, things like that, then this is not something that's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 days. This is something that's going to bleed into, I believe, probably the next week or two is how long that this is going to take. And that leads me to the one scenario where I was kind of saying to you before that maybe Joe Schoen isn't back as the general manager. And I can understand, look, the record is the record. The record's awful. And I think that that's the first thing that people look at with Joe Schoen. I personally would have probably let him go with Brian Dable. I probably would have let both guys go and started completely fresh. There are some who will tell you that, the depth of his drafts has not been very good, but he has drafted a couple of guys who look like they could be impact players. Yeah, but the year before his draft looked pretty good, and then the guys this year weren't as good. So there's some things in his drafts that have been some hit and some miss. I mean, he was clearly on tape that he didn't want to take Jackson Dart. That was Brian Dable's pick. So I guess, but he's the GM, so I guess he can get to take credit for it, even though we all watched the tape of him basically looking at Dable and going, this one's on you with Jackson Dart. So I personally wouldn't give him credit for that. But I think this also, Paulie, falls into him being back. Look, the Giant organization is in a place right now where their owner is obviously going through a battle with cancer. He is the guy who runs the team. There has not been kind of a line as, who's running the team in his stead while he's going through this. None of that has kind of been put out there. And I think that obviously with that situation happening to him, and they gave him the game ball after the game on Sunday, all that stuff, I think that it was probably the easiest way to handle it was to keep your general manager in place as opposed to him having to go and find somebody else to run the organization. And that's just the way it is. But there's one scenario. John Harbaugh is the type of guy, Paulie, that he's such a big name. He's got such a winning pedigree. He has all those things that if he sat down with the New York Giants, now he could be sitting down with Joe Schoen, and this would be a moot point. But if it is with ownership and with the Maras and with the Tishes and with everybody else, and he says to them, listen, I want to be here, but I want my own GM. I don't want that guy. That's a scenario where you have to fire. You have to, if you're going to get Harbaugh, and that's like his, and it might not be true, saying if that happened, because Harbaugh is the type of guy who can have that kind of influence. And if he were to say that to the Giants, I think the Giants then have to say, well, will you be our coach if that happens? And he goes, yeah, then and he brings his own GM in. Is
that a scenario that's happened anytime before where a coach wants his own GM?
Yes, it has. It has happened. It's become a little bit more commonplace in the years. I mean, hey, just from experience, I'll tell you, McDermott.
That wouldn't fly in hockey. It most definitely doesn't fly in baseball.
It depends on. Look, McDermott got to Buffalo. This was before he did all the winning. And he got Whaley, the GM, ran out of there and brought his own guy, Brandon Beede from Carolina, with him. There, and I could find you probably a few more where a powerful head coach wants to have his own guy running the team. Now, look, even if John Harbaugh came to the Giants and Joe Schoen wasn't, I'm going to tell you who is more powerful in the Giant organization if that happens. John Harbaugh. And even if Joe Schoen stays as the general manager, John Harbaugh will immediately become the most powerful football guy in the Giant organization. He'll be paid like that. He will be looked at like that. And that is how it should be, because this team needs to be back to stability. They need to be back to winning football. And that is the guy who will bring them back into that area.
Does McCarthy get that same kind of pull?
No.
No, you don't think so?
No, he does not.
Okay.
He does not. And I think that just goes by what, people are
similar success.
On the surface, you look at it, one Super Bowl, right? That's kind of the way you can look at it. But I feel like that there's this, Dallas couldn't wait to get McCarthy out of town, and he won 12 games every single year.
Yeah.
I don't think it brings the same cachet as
look
Harbaugh.
At the GM he had to deal with over there.
Right. I don't think it brings the same. And now that could be true. Maybe you get him away from that awful situation, which is, listen, it is what it is. It's the Cowboys, it's Jerry runs the show, and it's this, you got to deal with Jerry. And to be fair to Mike, when you win 11, 12 games every year, I'd say you do a pretty good job dealing with Jerry. If that's what you're doing, but they didn't feel like it was good enough. So he was out. I still think that if you can't get Harbaugh, he's going to be, it has to be one of Harbaugh, Stefanski, or McCarthy for me. If the Giants don't hire one of those three guys as their head coach, they have done an awful job this offseason, in my opinion. They've done an awful job. If it's not, and for me, it's Harbaugh 1. I do think it's Stefanski 2, and then it's McCarthy 3. And if it's not that, Paulie, they've done an awful job.
And why do you have Stefanski ahead of McCarthy?
I think that Stefanski's a really good offensive mind. Now, you would know that watching the Browns offense this year. You could say that's because they've had a bad quarterback issue.
And he's won Coach of the Year twice.
I think he's won Coach of the Year twice. He's won more. Winning in Cleveland's not easy, and he won 11 games twice there. That's not an easy place to win. Thought he had a quarterback. Then they stuffed Deshaun Watson down his throat, and that didn't work out. And he still was able to piece it together that one year with Joe Flacco at the end of the year. And he made the playoffs once with Baker. They're another dysfunctionally, poorly run organization like the Jets, where how does that GM survive? You talk about I mean, Andrew Berry, what has he done in Cleveland to deserve a crack at hiring a coach? Like, what an awful job that guy's done. But Stefanski's the guy that's out. I think he's a good offensive mind, and he has the NFL experience. He's been in the league now for the past 6 years in Cleveland, 5-6 years that he was there. I think it's a better – I think Harbaugh's obviously the number one home run gold star option, and I think Stefanski and talking to the people that I've talked to, they like Stefanski a lot.
Now, can I throw this in here?
Sure.
The Jets are hanging out there, right? They have Aaron Glenn, terrible season. Harbaugh becomes available. Stefanski becomes available.
Sure.
Those two guys, like I said, a week or so ago, they're not out there.
Right.
If you're the Jets, why not? Would you maybe lean towards them going, hey, Aaron, thanks a lot, but
I've seen some people have suggested that, you don't know you didn't know Harbaugh was going to be available. Why don't you? Maybe the Jets are the mystery team that is inquired.
Is that as far as assets and future? Obviously,
I'm not sure there's enough money in the world for a guy like John Harbaugh to take the Jet job.
Yeah,
I don't believe there's enough money available.
Well, in sports lately, though, with contracts and with offers, sometimes money.
I know money talks.
Money's getting
money
a little
talks.
more ridiculous.
At the end of the day, that's what always matters.
Become the highest paid head coach ever.
But I don't think that anyone would take that job. Anyone with credibility would take that job. Having to deal
have a better history,
having to deal with Woody Johnson. I just don't know why you would want to. And we read all the stories since Saleh. When Saleh got fired, it all got let out. Woody Johnson's in the building all the time. He meddles all the time. He's got suggestions all the time. He's got all, and you know what he knows about football? Nothing. And he's always on top of the situation. Apparently, a guy like John Harbaugh is not in for that.
Yeah.
Because you want to know why, Paulie? It ain't the only job that's offered. He's got plenty other places, and the Giants are one. As you say, there is a history there. There is, that does matter to some guys around the league, even though it's been so bad the last 10 plus years. It is still the New York Football Giants, and being the guy who now brings them back maybe into prominence is a big thing, and that's what Coughlin did.
Yeah.
Coughlin came and took the Giants back into respectability. And listen, I wouldn't say it. Listen, Fossil took the Giants to a Super Bowl. It wasn't a completely awful situation, but Coughlin came in, got 2 more Super Bowls back to the Giants. It was such a massive thing, and the Giants mean something. And I just think that they have to get this done. If they have got to get Harbaugh. This is too set up for them.
So you're totally with it's Harbaugh or nobody right now. I mean, if
you're the Giants,
you get him in the seat.
You have to get him
roll
in
the
there.
truck up.
Like I said, I don't care what the conditions are. If he tells you that he don't want Shane, you get rid of Shane. If he tells you he wants to be the highest paid coach in the NFL, you make him the highest paid coach in the NFL. Whatever it is that he wants to make him the coach of the Giants, you give it to him. Because Paulie, you got to stop. You got to stop with all these guys. All of the McAdoos and Dable didn't work. And who's the other hack that they had? Shermer. Like, you got to stop with these guys.
Yeah.
It's time to get serious. It's time to bring in a winner. It's time to bring in a guy who knows how to run a team, whatever that is, whatever that cost you. Because and it's not like this is an unattractive job from this aspect either. Clearly, I think most people would say they have a quarterback.
Absolutely.
And not only do they have one, and he's on his rookie deal for another 4 years. So you're talking, that is, you talk about when you want to strike with the iron in the NFL. When you have a quarterback who you feel you can win with, and he's still on his rookie deal, and you could still spend money in other places and build around him, that is when you got to win. And putting a guy like Harbaugh, now Harbaugh is not some offensive mastermind. And, that was one of the things in Baltimore. He didn't want to part with Monken, it sounds like. That bothered the owner. But you're going to have a really good young quarterback. You've got some young pieces on defense with Carter and a few others. If you get a healthy Neighbors and Scatterbo for an entire year round, there are things there with the Giants.
Yeah.
And I think that will be attractive to Harbaugh as well. I really do. And it's a big time franchise in the league.
Yeah.
It matters to people.
The fact that Dart got all this experience this past year too.
Sure.
And he's been great too on a media standpoint as far as a face of the franchise. Dart seemed to say all the right things. You know, he played a little bit smarter in the last couple of games too, as far as not trying to get himself killed.
Sure.
Taking a little advice. So again, look, as a Giants fan, I'm trying to stay kind of grounded here. It just happened, right? So last night the news come over. It's all over the airwaves, all over the internet. It's this, that, and it's just like you just got to sit back and wait. Obviously, for us as fans, if Harbaugh takes the reins, man, that's
but
great.
you're the Giant fan out of the two of us.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna say it to you just like this, because at the end of the day, I don't care if they don't get one of those three guys I said. You're gonna you tell me you're not gonna be upset.
Of course, absolutely, yes. I'm just saying, as far as
now, you want to tell me that the Steelers lose Monday night and the same thing happens with Tomlin and they part ways, and then Tomlin, I'm talking without another name like that being added to the mix.
Yeah.
If these are the three.
But funny you bring that up, whether it's Tomlin or
Matt LaFleur. What if the Packers lose Saturday night and Green Bay's the mystery team?
Harbaugh to me is still the number one guy.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I don't think that
he's the first.
Well,
choice.
I would take Tomlin over Harbaugh.
What, really?
Yes, I would. I would take Tomlin over Harbaugh.
Tell me why.
I just like him better. I like Mike. Look, I think obviously both have a ton of winning. There's something to say about a guy who hasn't had a losing season in 20 years. And there was some bad.
I don't see him leaving Pittsburgh now.
No, I don't either.
Yeah.
No, I'm just giving you like a toss out. Mm-hmm. I think them winning the other night and then making the playoffs, it's not ending. And also know this, it only ends if he wants it to end.
Mm-hmm.
This was the Ravens letting Harbaugh go. The Rooneys are not going. They've had 3 coaches in 50-plus years for a reason.
Amazing. They
love the stability. Mm-hmm. The guy wins every year. It would only be Tomlin going to them and saying, you know what? I appreciate everything. Yeah. I want to just do something else. Mm-hmm. And you know what they would say? You've been great to us. Thank you so much. And move on. They wouldn't fight him on it. But I don't think any of that's happening. Mm-hmm. If these are the only 3, if these are the top 3 names and there's no other name that gets released here over the next week, and they don't get one of those 3, what do you say as a Giant fan?
I'm sorry. What's the question again?
If there's no other surprise firings,
gotcha.
Obviously, not a LaFleur or somebody else like that getting added into the pile of available coaches. If this is what it is, and the Giants don't get Harbaugh, Stefanski, or McCarthy, guys with experience in Super Bowl, Stefanski hasn't won a Super Bowl, guys with experience, 2 guys who have won a Super Bowl, they don't get one of those 3 guys, you can't tell me you're going to be happy.
And I'm telling they're spending too much time with Steinbrenner and Cashman.
Because there are teams around the NFL. There are other openings. The Raiders fired Carroll. Arizona fired Jonathan Gannon. Mm-hmm. Tennessee obviously fired their coach months ago, and they're looking for coaches. And do you see some of the names that these guys are interviewing? Like Matt Nagy, who was in Chicago, did like a lukewarm to bad job, goes back to Kansas City to be the offensive coordinator, was the offensive coordinator in the worst Chiefs season in the last 10 years. And the Raiders and Cardinals and Titans are lining up to interview this guy. Like, what are we doing? Jason Garrett, the Titans are going to interview? Like, Paulie, these are why these teams are losers. This is why. This is why the Raiders are losing. And I'm surprised that the Raiders are interviewing somebody like that, because they give you this big press release that Brady's going to be more involved. Mm-hmm. And all that, that doesn't sound like, what's Tom doing? Like, there's probably something else lying there. Maybe, it's Tom Vegas, baby. I mean, why would you? The Raiders, if it's so dysfunctional, and they shouldn't be with Brady there now, Brady should just push Mark Davis out of the side. Mark, go have a drink. Just go and hang out somewhere. Let me and Spytek deal with this. So just leave us alone. Mm-hmm. And that's it. But why are the Cardinals always losers? Because they're going to interview Matt Nagy. I mean, come on. Now, would John Harbaugh go to Arizona? No, he probably wouldn't. But
can we talk about real quick how Loop's missed kick?
Yeah.
If it flips the other way.
Sure.
It's a totally different sports day today.
What an incredible game that was, too.
It was.
On Sunday night.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Like, you got, for 3 quarters, it was your typical Raven Steeler, like low scoring, smash mouth type of game. The defenses were ruling the day. You knew it was going to be kind of just one mistake was going to tip the scales, and then a shootout blows up. I mean, it just back and forth. Lamar makes 2 incredible plays. Rodgers leading the Steelers down the field at 100 years old. Yeah. Like, you got everything. I mean, them missing the extra point, Luke missing the kick on the other side. Like, you got Metcalf. It all. Yep. Without Metcalf, who then, I saw this story, was driving to the stadium to celebrate with his teammates after they won the division, and I guess he got there too late. The equipment guy was like, everybody's gone, man. Go ahead. So I don't know how true that story was, but I saw it. But I saw it come through across on social media. But that was an incredible game Sunday night between the Ravens and the Steelers, and now the Steelers play on Monday night.
One kick
against your Texans.
Changed the landscape.
But
like that.
We did a lot with the Giants there, obviously, and it's such an enormous couple of weeks for them here with who's going to be the coach. You did bring up Glenn with the Jets. He's going to be back. They had him and this Muji had their big press conference the other day. I think it was yesterday where Glenn has, the stones to basically like sit there and tell you, oh, just believe me, we're going to be better. Oh, yeah. Just believe me, we're going to be better. I'm not a Jet fan. You know that.
And neither am I.
I would have no problems for the rest of my life watching the Jets be as bad as they've been. I have no problems with that. But if I was a Jet fan and I watched my team get absolutely clowned the last couple of weeks by division rivals, because what Vrabel did to him the second to last week of the season, basically running it up, running May's stats up, rubbing it in their face, in their building, their home finale. And then the Bills on Sunday with Mitch Trubisky in the game. And basically they found the 4 or 5 guys on the team who had to get all their contract incentives and their bonuses. Oh, Knox, you got your $150K touchdown. Oh, Ty Johnson needs 2 touchdowns. Let's get him $500K. Oh, this guy needs that. And you just got ran over by them and clowned 2 weeks in a row. If I was a Jet fan, I would never want that guy near my team again. Okay. And listen, there's no law that says you can't fire a guy after 1 year. Is it something you want? Is it great for continuity? No, it isn't. But guess what? I'll give you one recent history example.
Sometimes you're just you're not the guy for the job.
The Pats figured it out 1 year now. And again, there was a guy available that they really wanted, but the Pats figured it out. Mayo was awful for 1 year. Mm-hmm. They fired him and hired Mike Vrabel. And where are they this year, Paulie?
Yeah, looking good.
13-4. And they're one of the best teams in the AFC. It can happen. Now, the Jets don't have the same kind of roster that the Patriots did. Yep. And I don't think there's a coach like Mike Vrabel who could turn them around that fast. Well, maybe I just don't think anyone would actually go to them. But to get clowned down the stretch, every week losing by 20-plus points, how can you sit there and try to say confidently, oh, don't worry, I've got this. You just got to give. I'm going to tell you this is going to happen. And you know what else I didn't see in that end of season press conference? I didn't see him acting like a tough guy anymore either, yelling at everyone and acting like and that was from the moment that happened. I said this to you the first show we did here in November because I felt it for months and I said in other places for months. In New York, you cannot walk around and act like a tough guy as a head coach when you have never done anything. And his team got clowned the last few weeks of the regular season by division rivals. I wouldn't want that guy near my team if I were a Jet fan. Near it. Awful.
Bad
job.
enough he's sharing a stadium with my squad.
Awful.
Get him out of here.
Awful job by all of them. Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio. Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island. Of course, here on a Wednesday, first show of 2026. Woo-hoo. We have a lot more to do. We're going to talk about some of these other games. Get ready for Super Wild Card Weekend and some of these matchups. Kind of take our first look at them. Obviously, tomorrow we'll do a little who you got for the weekend, but we'll at least give you the matchups and see when everything is. We got college football to do. We've got a lot of hockey today. When you win a game 9-0, you gotta praise that. So we will do that later on as well. A few other things too. So Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio. Why don't you tell everybody, Paulie, about what's going on at Borrelli's here over the next couple of
All right,
months?
once again, Carver and Cuthbert broadcasting live from Borrelli's Taproom here in Long Beach on 912 Beach Street. It's a new year, and that means new good times here at Borrelli's. Starting this weekend, as always, we got some great live music coming in on Friday night. Josh Sticks will be here at 7 p.m. Local Long Beach legend. Just great, very talented guy. He'll be here at 7 o'clock on Friday night. And then on Saturday night, Ryan Scarano is going to be in here, and he starts at 7 p.m. as well, too. And then on Sunday Fun Day, all the games, obviously all the football games here this weekend at Borrelli's, and all the screens and all the specials and everything else. Sunday Fun Day, we'll have DJ TM Select, and he'll be in here around 6 p.m. spinning tunes in between the 4 o'clock and the 8 o'clock games, and then through the rest of the night. This Tuesday, Comedy Series returns here as well. Anthony Rodia is going to be here. The 7 p.m. show is sold out, Mike. Can't get in for 7 p.m.
Wow.
The 9 p.m. show still has some ticks left. And again, for tickets to the comedy shows here, go to Borrelli's Taproom or go to eventbrite.com and search Borrelli's Taproom. Wednesday the 14th, the mozzarella making class, Mike. Sorry, you can't get into that one either.
Sold out?
Because it's sold out. All right, that'll return most likely back in February. That's great stuff there. Songs from an Italian Restaurant, Billy Joel Theme Night will returns here on January 21st. And on January 27th, Joe List, comedian, will be here. He's 7 p.m. show is sold out. And actually, he's only doing a 7 p.m. show. My bad. And there are few tickets remaining for his show on January 27th. January 28th, I don't know, Mike, this sounds pretty cool. Sinatra Serenade.
Really?
Sinatra theme night. Starting down here, the greatest hits of Frank Sinatra. And, of course,
How about that?
Some great food specials, which will be released soon, and drink specials. So if you like Sinatra, Rat Pack and stuff, come down.
Wow.
It'll be pretty cool. And that's on January 28th. All free shows for these theme nights and the live music here on the weekend. Just the comedy shows you have to get tickets for. And that's what's going on right now. There's all stuff coming up in February and everything else. We'll be talking about that tomorrow and more into next week. But there you go. That's what's happening here this weekend. Live music, football, good times, and great stuff, and comedy and music for the rest of January.
Gotta have it. That's an incredible lineup here over the next few weeks.
They don't just make pizza here, pal.
They don't. They don't just make pizza here. There's plenty of good stuff that you can get down at Borrelli's in Long Beach. On the island here with Go Sports Radio. Okay, before we move on to the games, I will tell you, we obviously, as we should, spend a lot of time with the Giants and the Jets, but these are now the open jobs in the NFL as of now.
Okay.
Ravens, Giants, Titans, Falcons, Cardinals, Browns, Raiders. What did you say is the best job? You're a head coach. Obviously, Harbaugh can't go back to where he just was, so what are you going to limit? But what job would you want the most? Would you want to have Lamar Jackson in Baltimore? Would you want to have Jackson Dart with the Giants? I don't know. I guess Cam Ward with the Titans. Falcons, I don't really love Michael Penix, but some really great pieces there with Bijan Robinson and Drake London, and even on defense with Pierce and such, they got some great pieces. Cardinals have nothing. Browns have nothing. Myles Garrett, I guess. They have that. Pretty good D. And the Raiders have Tom Brady.
So, not trying to be biased, but I think the Giants gig is the best gig as far as the assets, how they look the last couple of weeks, how they finished the season, the future. You know, that's where I think. Then I like Atlanta. I think that's a good spot. Tennessee is up there too. It's probably the top three for me.
Atlanta made such a bad decision hiring Morris 2 years ago. They could have done better. Morris had been a coach before. He wasn't impressive with Tampa. He's a great coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not a good head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He just isn't. And that they really set themselves back a couple of years, but they have some really attractive pieces there. I mean, they do.
Be curious about, anybody coming in to work with what'd you think of Sanders there and his play? As far as somebody coming in and working. Forget about the personality side, which is a huge part of it, but on the field.
I think that the personality stuff is what made him a 5th round pick. I think in reality, when you watch him play, and look, there's a lot of learning to be done there, but I've seen worse quarterbacks in the NFL. And I think if you didn't have the Sanders and the personality stuff attached to him and the pre-draft stuff attached to him, and you were just looking at the player, probably a 2nd to 4th round pick, not a 5th round pick. I think he fell because of everything that's around him. Did he look like a guy that I'm running to go coach the Browns next year? Not necessarily. I think that whoever takes that job, they might like him, but I think that you might also want to.
Well, there's two things there.
See other things.
It's Cleveland, and it's Cleveland. With Sanders,
correct. But I mean, I don't think you're married to him. I don't think it's necessarily like he's a 5th round pick. He makes no money. It's easy to it's not a situation where, you're heavily attached to somebody going in. Like when you take the job, you are taking it with this guy. When Peyton took the Bronco job a few years ago, he had to take Russell, Russell Wilson, he had to take him for a year. Russell Wilson was making $1 bajillion, and they had to swallow a huge pill the year after that first year after Peyton to get rid of him. That's not the situation with Sanders. If the coach maybe doesn't necessarily love him, he might find another quarterback to compete with him in the draft that he does love. And there could, it's not a situation where you're locked into it. So I don't think that would be my hindrance to taking the job. The hindrance I would have of taking that job is ownership and the general manager. That would be my problem because they never get it right. That would be the scary thing for me. There are just these teams, Jets, Cleveland, Raiders, Arizona. They never get it right.
Yeah.
Just never get it right. But all it takes is finally finding the right guy, because Detroit didn't get it right forever. And it just took, Holmes and Dan Campbell to go in there and change the team. So you're always one really good hire away from doing it, but the track record of who they bring in to run these teams is so poor that's what would worry me about going to one of those places.
Well, you asked me, what are your choices? Where are you going? Which job you taking first?
I think that the Ravens are probably the best job, just because you have an MVP. Like, you have an MVP and you have some really, really good players on defense. And I know their defense looked horrible at times, but Kyle Hamilton's a really good player. Roquan Smith's a really good player.
Pretty good running back.
You have him as well. And that's maybe if you're looking at it more towards where can I win in the next 3 years? I think that the Ravens is the best job. Where can I win in the next 5? Maybe it's the Giants. I think that, or the Falcons, like you said. I think that those are kind of the, where it's at with the pecking order. And I don't think Ward played bad for the Titans this year. I really don't. I think there's still some work to be done around him.
Division and conference plays a lot into this.
Sure. That's a very big thing, because I think it's easier. Let's take the Falcons, for example. I think it's a lot easier to win in the NFC South. I mean, they tied for the division lead this year. They were 8-9 with Carolina and Tampa.
Bad teams in that division.
Your path to success is a lot faster there as it would be to say, the Giants, who listen, and who knows what happens with the Eagles. I mean, I've heard people over the last 24 hours since this Harbaugh thing say that if the Eagles lost on Sunday, they'd fire Sirianni. I don't believe it. Tom, you want to fire Sirianni if he loses on Sunday?
Hell no.
No, I don't.
No.
Guy won a Super Bowl last year. Oh, well, they did it with Peterson. Oh, yeah, they did do it. But Sirianni's done a good job in Philly. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won one of them. I don't get it. Like, it's just everyone wants to just run and chop them. Like right now, chop them. And then here's another one and this will be 2 parts of this I'll bring to you. And Tim Graham, who is when you talk about covering the Buffalo Bills, and Tim Graham has done it for an extremely long time. He's one of the best in the business. Now he's with the Athletic. He's been before that Buffalo News and ESPN, and he's the best. So when this Harbaugh thing happened yesterday, everyone immediately, not everyone, but a lot of people immediately like, well, if I'm the Bills, if McDermott loses on Sunday, They should be running for Harbaugh. And guys, how much have I yelled about Sean McDermott to you? Just you in the past couple months. Think about even beyond that, how long I've yelled about Sean. But you want to know why I never take it seriously? Because he's not getting fired. He's not. Terry Pegula isn't firing Sean McDermott. He just isn't. And you want to know why? Because guys like Tim Graham are tapped in and they understand it. Great tweet from Tim yesterday. So many national hot takers who wouldn't know Terry Pegula if he walked up and kicked him in the balls, parachuting in with strong predictions about what Terry Pegula might/oughta/will do. And it's so true. This is a guy who has been in the Buffalo media for decades, knows the guys who run the team, knows everything. They love Sean McDermott. Mm-hmm. They love that he took them out of 20 years of misery and has built a culture and respectability around the team that they value that. Has it gotten them a Super Bowl? No, it hasn't. Does it bother some fans like me? Of course it does. We want to win. But the owner might value different things. I value that I have a team that I'm opening a brand new building next year. I have a franchise quarterback. I have a coach that wins 12 games every single year with him. One year, maybe things will go my way and I will get one.
And
it's like I said to you earlier with Harbaugh with Baltimore. Like, you have no idea if the grass is going to be greener. Could it be? Mm-hmm. Sure. Mm-hmm. Could you hit the guy that in the first year gets Allen breaks the glass ceiling and they win the Super Bowl? Yes, they might. Could you also get the guy who suddenly you're going 9-8 and you're back in the middle? Yeah, that could happen too. But McDermott has been consistent and he's been successful whether you like him or not. I most nights don't like him, but the wins are the wins. It is what it is.
It's working there. Obviously, they haven't won yet, but there is success there. There is stability. And the way things are playing out a little bit, not only in the conference, we'll see if the Pats are one and done or if May's going to be the real deal here.
He's
as
really
far
good.
As that division is concerned.
Yeah.
Bills are going to be 1-2, one way or the other.
Well, you'd like to think. But I'm just saying from it in terms of like what Tim said, like it's so true. Like everyone runs out and says, "Oh no, they should fire this guy."
Well,
you don't look at
normal thing that happens.
You don't look at the inner workings of what's going on with the team. And Terry Pegula's he's not going to make a change like that.
Well, we could all sit here and go, how did Tomlin work out for so many years through all the up and downs? How did Harbaugh work out for so many ups and downs in Baltimore? Because there's something there ownership either likes as far as, they're the guys who see the work day in and day out away from the game.
Right. And look, could they lose 45-0 on Sunday to Jacksonville? And
no way.
No, I'm just saying, like, could they lose 45-0 and Terry has a meeting of the mind Sunday night and says, you know what, maybe it's time. Sure, he could. But for right now, that's, it's not happening. So, and the other thing that bothered me with the Bills, because it's brought up, and I don't know why there's a couple places and sportsbooks tweet this stuff, and it just drives you mad. Maybe it's just because I'm a Bill fan. It bothers me more.
Probably a little bit.
But I've been seeing the last few days, like, this is it for Josh Allen. No Mahomes, no Lamar, no excuses. He has to win this year. Oh, yeah? Does Josh Allen play defense? Josh Allen, the head coach, make dopey decisions? Does he do all that stuff on the field? He has been Superman for the last 5 years in the playoffs. Let me tell you.
Better.
The guy walked off the field in Kansas City 3 years ago with a lead with 13 seconds left in the game and never touched the ball again. Yeah. He had Diggs drop a pass the year after that in Buffalo against Kansas City when he was driving him down to win that game. Last year, the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. They never give him a stop. They always start by giving up points and have to rally. So this is it. Like the law's been laid down, Paul. If he doesn't win this year because these guys aren't in the playoffs, he sucks. That's it. That's it. It's over. I disagree too. Of course you want him to win. I want him to see him win a Super Bowl.
That's all fun announcing.
That's what that is. It's nonsense. It's a nonsense take.
It's a great Twitter account
to have. Yes.
It is. I agree with that. Look, I think the guy's just getting better too. I think I think there's still more good stuff. No matter what happens this weekend with Buffalo, they're not going anywhere as far as the top teams to come back and
as
go
long
for
as
the
you
Super
have
Bowl
that
year
guy,
in and year
as
out.
long as you have that guy still in his prime area of his
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
They are a threat every year.
Yeah.
Could this be the year? Does it look like it's easier because those guys aren't in it? On the surface, it does. Would I take Josh Allen over Trevor Lawrence? Sure. Would I take him over Drake May? Sure. Bo Nix? Sure. But he's not on the field stopping those guys that he's playing. So, if he loses 38-35 to Trevor Lawrence on Sunday, and the defense, again, can't stop a nosebleed, and he puts 35 points up on the road in a playoff game, it's his fault and he sucks? It's stupidity is what it is. It's dumb.
And that's going to be a tough game for them. That's a tough squad they're playing. And no matter if the Bills get past the Jags, every week is going to be tough for them.
They got to go on the road every week.
Yeah.
So if they beat the Jags, most likely they're going to go to Denver and play the Broncos. And if they win
I'm going to ask you right now, too, as a Bills fan, this is probably not the best team that they have going into the playoffs right now. So
the 13-2 team was the best team they had the last few years. That was, I thought, the best team. Even the one they lost at home to Kansas City was really good. I don't think last year's team was as good as those two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this year's team is as good as those three. They have so many holes defensively this year that you can run on them. You could throw on them. The Bills have the worst wide receiver room in the NFL. Like they are literally only where they are because that guy puts a cape on and drags them there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the only reason they get to any. And if they win this week and next week and it's because he put a cape on and dragged them there. That's it. Like it's that simple. The guy's that good. Of course, I hope he wins the Super Bowl just so he can stop some of these dopey things that get said about him.
Well, it's
not because it's followed Marino his whole life too, right? Marino never won, and it was it was all his fault that the Dolphins never got back to the Super Bowl after his first year. It was all his fault. He was the best quarterback for 15 years, and come on, it's a team game.
And again, like you said about Josh and Marino, and you can go back to Tarkenton years ago too. These great quarterbacks, when they don't have the ball in their hand, there's nothing they can do about it.
No, there's only so much you can control.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different. And I think a lot gets brought up, like winning championships, especially like in the NBA. In the NBA, stars, immortals can impact the game on both sides of the floor. They can fill it up, and they can play D on the other end. They can they have so much more say in the outcome of a game.
Yes, agree. Yes.
Whereas the quarterback it is the position in the NFL. It is what makes you go. It is what makes you great. But you're not on the field every single play of the game. You're not making some of the decisions like some of these head coaches make. There's only so much in your power.
It's not Lamar Jackson's fault that Luke
didn't
put that ball through the
Jackson was incredible in the fourth quarter against the Steelers the other night. That's how it goes. All right. We get off tangents sometimes, and it happens. And you did there.
Well, I mean, last thing on the Bills, goodbye to Rich Stadium, and
it was sad.
A little emotional there.
It was sad. It was. I think what upsets me the most is that I didn't get there this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to, but that's just how it goes. I'm just in that part of my life where it just doesn't allow me to just pick up and go to Buffalo for a weekend. Like it just doesn't happen to me.
It's not that close either.
It's not that close, but it is. And I used to always love when
We're in the same state, but it's
when I used to go all the time.
It's almost a country away.
When I used to go back, at this point now it's 20 years ago. But when I used to go, it was, the Saturday night flight, JFK to Buffalo. It's like a 45-minute flight, 5 o'clock. You're there by 6. You're downtown by 7. You hang out Saturday night in town. You get up Sunday morning. And back when I was going, they always played at 1 because they sucked. So they never were at 4 o'clock or in prime time or any of those things. So you knew you had a 1 o'clock game. And you'd get into town. There was no Ubers back then. So it was super hard to get a cab to take you all the way to Orchard Park if you were staying in the city. Because I never rented a car. Sometimes we did. And it was such a fun day. And I think that the building obviously closing is one thing, but what gets lost about the Bills fans is it really is the people in that town and going to those games, and they have so much love for it and so much passion for it, and that's what I really love about it.
Well, now they're going to be able to fit more in the new one,
and that will still be there, hopefully, in the new one. We've seen a lot of teams that get these brand new Beautiful buildings, and
Rams are doing okay.
it's not the same
Mm-hmm.
because of the PSLs and because of
Yeah.
how expensive the tickets are and because they price out the diehards.
Well,
and
just
they,
the design and the architecture and the feel of a
right,
building is,
you know,
just changing
look,
too.
that place in Orange, that old Rich Stadium, Ralph Wilson Stadium, it was an absolute dump, but it was a great place to go and be with those people and watch those games. It just was. Same way that the Nassau Coliseum was an absolute dump. But when you go to a game, like a huge playoff game, like that last run they had when they were closing, I mean, it was awesome. And it had that feel. And they obviously haven't gotten to those moments yet at UBS, but I don't know if it's ever going to feel the same being in a brand new, beautiful building. I don't know. It's just,
I think for the younger, I mean, this plays into the Bills too, right? So the generations turnover, right? So now this is a new building for the young fans. And, we're a little older, and then there's the older and so on and so forth. But, these,
right.
UBS, I tell you, it's getting loud in there because, they're doing well. And you can kind of see it and feel it, and it's happening. I think when you don't have something to compare to, it's different,
Yeah.
But, hey, look, there was some great times in that stadium for the Bills, and some misery as well too, but
plenty of misery, unfortunately.
Just to tie it up though, but like what you're talking about with Josh Allen, McVay, and everything else.
Yeah,
Pagula, you can't. No matter what happens next weekend and the rest of this playoff run for these guys, that crew's coming back next year, and they're gonna kick it all off in the new building.
That is going to happen,
and we'll get you back up there to the new barn.
Yeah, I will get up. I will get up there to the new barn. So Bills Jags is Sunday. Let me give you the whole run, and tomorrow we'll do who you got.
You got it.
Saturday, 2 games. Remember, this is super wild card weekend. It's super.
Not just
it's
any
3
wild
days.
Card.
It's super wild card weekend. Saturday, 4:30, Rams Panthers in Carolina. Rams are a healthy 10.5-point favorite.
That's just insane
over Carolina.
That's so wrong that the Rams are on the road.
They're 12-5, and the Panthers are 8-9.
Absolutely.
So
they gotta fix that.
4-game difference in the standings.
Gotta fix that.
Saturday night, Packers Bears in Chicago. Green Bay, a 1.5-point road favorite against the Bears. Still no respect for the Bears. No respect for the Bears coming up here on Saturday night. We'll see. Sunday, 3 games. Bills Jags, as we just mentioned, is the early game on Sunday, 1 o'clock East, down in Jacksonville. Niners Eagles, 4:30 in Philadelphia. Eagles 4.5-point favorites. Chargers Patriots Sunday night. Pats -3.5. And then the Monday night game of Super Wild Card Weekend. Your Texans in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Texans are a 3-point road favorite in that game.
Do these numbers change at all going forward, or do you think these spreads are
the
pretty
spreads?
much
You
locked
mean?
in?
I think that the Panther one will get back under 10. There's some hot. Now we're in the middle of the week. All the people have done their research, and all the hot trends and all of those things are starting to roll through. And double-digit home dogs in the playoffs have covered like 15 of the last 17, some crazy number, and people will start jumping on the Panthers. So if you like that over 10, I'd probably shop that now. If you do, I think by the time Bills Jaguars kicks on Sunday, the Jags will be a small 1.5-point favorite. I think that will flip because I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen many people who like the Bills. Everyone seems to think that this is easy work for the Jaguars on Sunday. So we'll see. I thought maybe New England could get to 4, but maybe not. And I think the Steelers, it was 3.5 the other day. Now it's 3. I don't know if it gets under 3. If it gets under 3, everyone's going to hammer Houston. That might hang around there. I really like the Steelers. If you got the Steelers at 3.5, that's a good number to have, because I feel like even though it seems like Houston is, they've won, what have they won at this point? 10 games in a row or something like that, or up to 9 or 10 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Like the Steelers, just no matter who you are, for the most part, pull you into this ugly, like kind of grind out. I know that game exploded in the fourth quarter on Sunday night, but I feel like the first 3 quarters is kind of more of the true indication of what you usually get in a Steeler game. Like it's very tight. It's to the vest. I kind of want points, especially at home. Tomlin at home as a dog is a ridiculous also betting trend.
Be right there on the front, on the line, man.
Yeah.
It's if the Steelers O-line can give Aaron Rodgers the time that he needs.
Yeah.
Old man Rickety back there.
Old man Rickety.
As he showed everybody last weekend, he will find his guys. But if the Ravens, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But yeah, it's real quick. Any of the spreads from last weekend?
Well, that was nutty.
Yeah, every week we seem to get one conspiracy game.
Oh, the thing with the Packers and Vikings,
the field goal.
Yeah. So just to get people up to speed with that one. Now, week 18 is super hard. Like we did the show last week, Monday and Tuesday. So Tuesday we did the Who You Got. The lines that we did on Tuesday in a bunch of the games were so different by what they kick off because especially early in the week, you had no idea who was going to play, who wasn't, who cares, who doesn't, all that stuff. And then by Sunday morning, you have like a little bit more information. So that Viking Packer line, when the Packers basically showed up to Minnesota and said, yeah, this is like JV squad that we're putting out here today. It's going to be real bad. It went all the way to 14.5, the number in the Viking Packer game. It was 16-0. Looked like the Vikings were just going to, finish done. Packers kind of moved down the field in the final moments. Really could have just let the clock run out and go home. Matt LaFleur calls a timeout with like 3 seconds left in the game. Sends the field goal kicker out to make it 16-3.
I'm laughing at the vision of guys who betting on these games, right?
Yes.
And seeing that
going nuts. Now, look, some people might have played. I would have never played the Vikings at 14. That was just now. Did I have the Vikings earlier in the week at 7.5? Yeah, I did. So I was all right there. But for the people that had it at 14, that is. And how about if you had the Packers that day with the 14, getting the 14, sending Matt LaFleur a late Christmas card after that. But yes, there was a lot of big. I mean, even the Bills too. Like when it kind of got known, and I even said to you last week, I thought the Bills were gonna try to really end that stadium on a high note, and that even if Trubisky was in, they should slam the Jets. And that went from 7 when we talked about it, and that was around 13.5, 12.5, 13.5 when they kicked late Sunday. And the Bills obviously covered that with ease against the Jets. So that week 18 is always a lot of shifting and moving. But you won't see as much of that this week. The cards are on the table here. You pretty much know what you're going to get.
Everybody that can be in the lineup
from everybody. It's all, this is it. It's all hands on deck, win or go home. And, think guys, especially the veteran coaches and others, you're going to see some things maybe you didn't see during the regular season. There's guys who are really sharp, like Sean McVay of the Rams and others, they hold things back. They wait to bust things out in the playoffs. And I think that's something to really keep an eye on this week as well, is stuff like that. So I'm pumped. I always love Super Bowl. And it's a great, we'll talk about this after the break. You talk about 5 days of football here. This is it. Like when you get beyond these 5 days, yes, you got another doubleheader next weekend with the NFL, but like we're at the end of the line. You got the college football Thursday and Friday night, 2 NFL Saturday, 3 NFL Sunday, 1 NFL Monday. So Thursday through Monday, you've got games here. And then we're just about at the end. I mean, it's almost time to turn the page.
It's the best
for the football.
Yeah, I mean, obviously football season long is great, but these, to me, I think it's probably easy to say too. It's better than the Super Bowl itself. The wild card and the playoffs. I mean, this is it, man. This is when you're watching time possession, play calling, special teams.
Yeah.
It really gets it's down to the second now, and it's just great. And you got, I think what you're alluding to say in there is enjoy this and get out, the boys and the girls, and go watch these games and take it all in.
I think next weekend, the divisional weekend to me is always the best, because for the most part, you always get the 8 best teams in the NFL that weekend. There's I always love the matchups are, for the most part, unless you get a weird upset, the matchups are always, all 4 games are
and we all want an upset too.
Sure. I mean, you want to see Carolina beat the Rams on Saturday? We'll see if
I don't.
Paulie's willing to step out on that
I don't like the Panthers, man.
on Saturday.
Panthers and the Bucks.
But for the most part, each year, the 4 matchups you get divisional weekend are excellent games on Saturday. Those 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. So that's always my favorite weekend, and that really is the last weekend, because Championship Sunday is like, it's at the end, and then you got just the one big game 2 weeks later, and it's over. So we get there. Go Sports Radio, Carver and Cuthbert, Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island. We will come back. Hockey, college football playoff. I think we throw some Knicks in there. Knicks have looked awful the last couple games out as they get ready to play tonight against the Clippers at home. So a few more things to do. We'll come back. More to do. Go Sports Radio. Borrelli's after this. And we're back. Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio, Borrelli's Taproom in Long Beach on the island.
2026, baby.
Now, again, I just don't understand it. I was telling you earlier, like some teams, they just don't figure it out. Raheem Morris was just fired as the Falcons coach.
Oh, okay.
He's now been fired. Well, he was fired the other day, obviously. I'm saying he was just fired this week as the Falcons coach. He's now 0 for 2 in terms of being a head coach in the NFL. So what do teams like the Cardinals and Titans want to do, Paulie? Run out and interview him. What has he done that you run out and interview him? And it says, and the Giants as well. Now, look, it is what it is. We've already said who we think the Giants are going to be targeting, but this is why the Rooney Rule is a little bit of a farce sometimes in the NFL. The Giants are hiring Harbaugh, Stefanski, and McCarthy. I just feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are they interviewing Raheem Morris for? He's been fired twice as a head coach.
Maybe it's just
what
they got to do it anyway, just to practice interviewing people.
Practice interviewing people. I guess you could do that.
Let the fan,
NFL's
whatever's left of the fan base, let them know, hey, we're working here.
Yeah,
we're trying.
We're trying. We're doing our best. Doing our best. Let's do some pucks here for you.
Which pucks, man? The World Sweden.
Well,
the
that
champions
was,
of the
by the
junior
way,
world.
that was as I said to you last week, I usually don't pick it up until the end.
Mm-hmm.
And we were out Friday night, and I caught a little bit, and we were watching that USA-Finland game when USA lost to Finland in the quarters. Saw the amazing win by the Czechs over Canada to get into the final. And then, of course, Sweden beat Czechs in the final to win the juniors. Though the last couple, you pick it up in the quarters. It's unbelievable. Some of the games that you have there going. And the first, even their 17, 18-year-old kids, they kill them in Canada when they lose. I mean, they kill them up there when they lose these games. It's amazing. Like, it just shows you such the difference. And we know this with hockey already.
Mm-hmm.
But 95% of the people in the United States, they couldn't pick any kid out of a lineup that's on that United States junior team. They couldn't.
Yeah, unless you're following them. And
I mean, look, like the general public wouldn't know.
Well, that's
any kid on the USA team.
Hockey in
Correct.
this country,
but
period.
And then on the flip side, in Canada, they know every single one of them, and they give them the business when they lose to the Czechs in the semis.
And they are kids, man. They are.
They are, but that's the way of the world.
So the U.S. does not defend.
Yeah,
they're out. Canadians don't get in there.
It's a hard tournament to defend.
Well, the teams are getting better now. It's the Finns, the Czechs, Slovaks, Sweden have had this opportunity. Like I said, we talked about this a couple weeks too. Not having the Russian kids in these tournaments, not having the Russian players in the Olympics, which I would feel that the Russian players would make a huge impact on these tournaments. So, obviously what you're saying here is Canada. It's a big thing. It's a big deal up there. Obviously, it's their national sport. But the other thing too is it was in Minnesota. The turnout wasn't very good.
Yeah,
as far as
especially once the U.S. went out.
But
even like when Canada went out, I actually got a text from someone who was at the game. He lives in Minnesota and goes to a lot of. He's a big hockey fan, and he texted me a picture. He was at the gold medal game on Monday night between Sweden and the Czechs, and he texted me the picture and said, "Pretty sparse crowd." And there was, the downstairs empty seats just everywhere. And he said, once Canada got knocked out the night before, he said they were done. They weren't coming to the Bronx.
It's a tough spot in the U.S. at this time of the year too. You got college football going on, and also a lot of people complain about the prices of the tickets too. So,
that's the thing where, and I'm just gonna, look, this is not the Super Bowl, okay? The World Junior Championships. It's an awesome event. I'm not saying that they shouldn't make any money on it, but that's the kind of thing where, especially when you have all different games and countries and fans from everywhere coming in,
it should be $25 tickets.
I was going to go even less. I would make them. Here's why. I'd make them $10, and then I'd make all my money on concessions.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to get more people in the door charging $10 a ticket. You'll actually fill the place up, and then they'll buy some beers and some dogs and some popcorn and everything else you got going on in there.
Though, that they don't even have the confidence that they were going to get people in at $10 a pop. So they've got to have the ticket prices up. So even if it is sports crowd,
it's funny you bring that up because I just saw a story that, and this maybe can even lead us into this before the hockey. They are having all kinds of problems selling tickets to these bowl games Thursday and Friday night. Now, this has been a problem. Let me bring up the story for you here, Paulie. This is a problem because with the setup that they have for the college football playoff, you're asking fans. Let's say you're a team like Oregon, who was in the first round and is still in it.
Okay.
Let's say that you make it all the way to this point. You're now asking their fan base to go to Eugene for a first round game. They went to Miami to play Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're going to Atlanta to play Indiana. Who's making all these trips every single week to go to these places? Here it is. Miami versus Ole Miss, which is the game that's in Arizona, Fiesta Bowl. That's the Thursday night game in the Fiesta. Fiesta Bowl tickets are selling for $32 now on the secondary market. This is the college football playoff semis. $32. Although, and then it says the cheapest ticket, actually, the Oregon-Indiana game actually is, and maybe this is Indiana people crazy that they're in it for the first time ever. Cheapest ticket for Indiana-Oregon is $284. Now, I will say on this aspect, getting from Indiana to Atlanta, probably a lot easier, I would have to guess, than getting from either Miami or Oxford, Mississippi to Glendale, Arizona. Obviously, there's probably gonna be a lot of Indiana Hoosier faithful that jumps in the car and makes that little drive from Bloomington down to, and look, we're talking major colleges. There's people all over the country who went to all of these schools. I just get into, you're asking people to go to all these different places and all these games. And
hey, take it from a guy who tours up and down the Northeast. It's not cheap to travel. Whether you're in a plane or on the ground on a car, and then you got hotel rooms, and then you got to eat. And school's in session too.
That too.
I would want to ask you or anybody else, especially in the New York area, since we don't get this, right? We don't get college football playoffs in the area, obviously.
Right.
But if they had Oregon and Indiana, or whoever, playing at the Meadowlands,
right,
do you think it would sell out?
No.
Because, I think you're competing also with local interests. Like down south, Midwest, they're just huge college states anyway. And then high school football. I mean, football.
Well, it's much. Think about where this Oregon Indiana game.
It's like NASCAR. NASCAR is a regional sport.
You have a lot of things. Now we also have 4 teams that, either haven't won at all or haven't won in decades that are still around in this.
But I'm just talking about college football interest.
Right. No, you couldn't play.
I mean, the bars are filled out here on Long Island in the city as far as watching the games, betting on the games, and everything else. If the championship game or these semis were in the area, because here's the other choice. There's no football stadiums out here on Long Island that can hold it.
No.
Right? There's nothing in.
Oh, it's MetLife. That's the only place that can have a game like that. Look, MetLife has had some college football games. They have a Notre Dame game every couple years. Notre Dame, Syracuse.
But I'm talking about a playoff game right now. Like I said, we don't think.
I don't think it would sell out. No, I don't. It wouldn't be empty, but it wouldn't sell out.
Cold, rainy.
I think what one of the other things about the Atlanta ticket being so much higher than the ticket for the Fiesta in Arizona too is, like you said, it's in Atlanta. It's in the where college football lives and breathes down there in the southeast region. Even though it's not, it's a couple Big Ten teams that are in the game. And I do think that Indiana kind of having some closeness, as close as they could be to Atlanta, and this being such a huge thing with Indiana, them being the favorites and them being, an unbelievable movie-like story. If they win the national championship this year, I think Ole Miss would have that too as well if they ended up winning with what they've been through with Lane Kiffin and whatnot.
But back to your point, as a fan, if you're sitting there going, okay, if they win this,
right, and
that's
if you're a student too, like you say, like you go to college to be part of these moments, right? Like I'm going to a football school. I'm going to Oregon. Let's just say I'm going to Oregon. I've loved their football team my whole life. I'm going to be a student in Eugene. I'm going to go, and I want to be part of these big moments that the football team is going to have. So it was no problem going to a game at home against James Madison, Eugene. Now you're asking me, all right, I went to Miami on New Year's Day What do you think that hotel was down in South Beach? And and that game was, let's just say, sparsely attended. That Oregon Texas Tech game wasn't a lot of people in the house. Now you fly, you tell your student, you go all the way back for classes in Eugene. Now I got a Friday night game in Atlanta, back to the other side of the country. And then you come back, and I believe, where's the national championship game?
I tell you who's definitely not doing this is New Yorkers.
No. And the title game this year, I think, is back in Miami. It is. So if you're an Oregon fan, you might have to go back to Miami then the Monday after that.
Hopefully you got some family. What a place, you know?
It's a lot.
It is a lot, man. Definitely a lot. But you know
It's
what?
a lot.
The powers that be don't care.
Well, that's why also I really do believe that they should go to this, playing them like they just did the FCS championship the other night, which was an unbelievable game.
Yep,
Illinois State and
saw that.
Montana State, overtime game that the Bobcats won. But they have a playoff, Paulie, where all the games are on site, and they're playing every weekend for 5 weeks straight, and then the national championships at a neutral site game.
Yeah, but let's put it this way. It's not a sexy division.
Enough with the dopey bowls. Enough.
Yeah, well.
Play all these. Lanning has it right. Dan Lanning, Oregon coach, brought this up. Play the playoffs every Saturday in December on campus sites, and then make the national championship in a big neutral site setting. That's it. And you want to know what? You're so worried about the dopey Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl. They get the scraps. That's it.
Well, we've been talking about it since we started this show.
They get the
and
scraps.
Everybody does too. That this college football has a lot of work to do.
Yes, they do.
A lot of work to do.
All right. And we will tomorrow get into both games, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Miami Ole Miss tomorrow night, and then Indiana Oregon on Friday night. College football playoff semis. While we talk about those games tomorrow, we'll kind of just how they got there last week, which was just I couldn't believe how Georgia crumbled in that fourth quarter, and I couldn't believe Ohio State's just an absolute, just got beat down by the Miami defense.
What do you call it? They were in Cancun, state of mind.
Oh, they were ready for Cancun.
Cancun
in that game. They were ready for Cancun. That's for sure. All right, last night, Islanders 9-0 over the Devils.
Woo!
At the horse track. And what a way to go out, because they're going on a long 2-week, 7-game road trip starting in Nashville tomorrow night. So a good way for the Islanders to end it with a 9-0 win.
Did they play the Utica Devils last night?
Now, the
Utica Devils?
It kind of looked like it was, to be quite honest with you. I thought the craziest thing was, and I didn't watch any Devil post game with this, so I don't know how this all down. Markstrom didn't seem thrilled that Keefe left him out there to get hung out to dry the entire night.
And the Devils put up
you
like
don't
44
see
shots too, right?
Yeah, and the Islanders only put up 24. So he had 15 saves on 24 shots. That is a cool .625 save percentage. That is not going to help the season average for Markstrom. And there was a couple times he skated. It looked like he was skating towards the bench, and Keefe just stared at him, and he went back to the crease. Now, look, there's a lot of things that Sorokin was unbelievable. He came back from the injury, and he got another shutout. One of the favorites for the Vezina now, by the way, Sorokin. And then I don't know if you saw me having fun with this last night. You see this? The deserve to win-o-meter. You ever see these things?
Who's releasing that?
People put this, all the charts and graphs folk put these out. Let me get it for you. I don't know who actually does this. I'll burn this off of somebody. I see people tweet these things all the time. Deserve to win-o-meter. So they take all the analytical stats and all the nonsense that goes into the game. And like you said, Devils had like 44 shots on goal. The Islanders only had 24. This was a game of purely just bad goaltending, because it says here on the deserve to win-o-meter that the Devils had a 78.1% chance to win this game. And they lost 9-0.
I hate the stats.
Enough with the charts and graphs.
Yeah, the NHL stats to me, this net front crap and all that other nonsense.
Net presence.
Yeah. No, they call it net front or whatever.
Net front.
He didn't score any goals, didn't get any points, but he was his net front percentage was blah, blah, blah. It's ridiculous. Hey, look, nice spot there by the Islanders last night. But I got to tell you, and, Schaefer's the goods and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think people are talking enough about Barzie's pass. drawing two Leafs, and then that
Right.
spin around pass.
Yeah.
And then obviously Schaefer finished. But man, I got to tell you, Barzy is having a hell of a season.
He
man.
is.
And I think I said this earlier, as far as Schaefer making a lot of other guys on this team, he's opened up stuff for him. The Duke getting a hat trick last night.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But that game against Toronto the other night was
What a
you
game.
know, I always love when the Leafs lose.
What a game.
Just
that
good
was.
stuff, man. And you know, the barn's rocking over there in UBS, or as you call it, the horse track.
The horse track. Yeah. That was what the Toronto game Saturday night was incredible.
They're still
Schaefer was
30 points behind the Avs though for the league.
You know, the Avs lost 2 in a row now. They lost to Tampa last night. The Lightning have won 8 in a row. They're red hot. And the Avs actually a couple chinks in the armor. Landeskog hurt, Taves hurt. They got a couple guys hurt. So speaking of hurt, Shesterkin got hurt Monday night against Utah.
His feelings or a real injury?
Well, yeah.
Feelings?
Goes on IR, lower body injury. He'll continue to be evaluated.
Fox is not coming back.
Fox not coming back either. So
is Miller still? I haven't looked, but it is a Miller.
Well,
I know
Sullivan,
he's not in the
36 minutes ago, did not have any more information for you. So not that they ever give you any information.
I heard he was telling great jokes at the Classic on the bench, and you know, and Dolan.
The Classic
Dolan's
was
on the
fun.
radio the other day saying about Drury's not going anywhere.
Classic was fun.
Sully's changing the culture. He's changing the culture.
Well, I saw Dolan on Fan do that.
Yeah, he's changing the
culture. It takes a while to change a culture.
Is he changing the selections from the Culture Club band in the locker room?
Why are they so good in the Winter Classic? It's amazing.
Man, they made us look bad.
Zibby with the hat trick Friday night.
Got a little trophy and everything else. I mean, I guess it's like the Knicks. They win the cup, and then the Rangers win the Classic.
Second lowest rated Winter Classic ever, I think I saw. Just beat out last year's by a hair.
Look,
I think
we were watching the game on Friday night.
Yeah.
And the report back is, it was fun. They got people in the building. The game wasn't very good.
No.
And, all the theatrics. I mean, there's a lot of nonsense. The NHL cannot get any decent, no disrespect to the musicians and the DJs that play, but I mean, can they get somebody with a little bit of clout to rock these classics at all a little bit? But look, it is what it is. We've talked about this in length. It's not, this needs to be in a cold city.
I thought it was a miss. I watched it. Like we said,
what were the ratings? You know me. I'm sure it was just pathetic. When you look
now,
at,
to be fair, they've been going down every single year now for a while.
When they released it, was the Indiana game had 23 million.
The NHL Winter Classic fails to reach 1 million viewers for the second consecutive year.
Yeah, that's pathetic. It's awful. To not be able to get 1 million in this country. And then when like I said, the college football game last week, Indiana, 23 million people.
Right. Friday's game averaged 978,000 viewers across TNT and True TV, up 6% versus last year's all-time low.
And 90% of that were probably just all Ranger fans.
Probably.
And they were give fair play to the Ranger fans too. There were a lot of them in the baseball stadium.
I like this. This article is an awful announcing, by the way, which you mentioned before.
Yes.
No matter how you slice it, the numbers do not bode well for what used to be one of the NHL's marquee regular season events. Early in its history, the Winter Classic could command audiences above 4 million. Now less than 1 million. I don't know what you do, honestly, to change it. I don't, you really going to get that much more if they have it outside in a snow globe? I mean, I guess you could, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I think you're going to have. Look, the NHL has a terrible. They don't market the sport well. They don't.
Probably didn't help the Rangers suck this year too. Well, then they don't suck. They're a couple points out, but they're not like first in the East and like playing well. Like that probably doesn't help them either.
The NHL was able to roll there for a few years with
just the scene.
Well, no, but also you had Ovi, you had Crosby. You know what I'm saying? You had the Hawks back then with Taze.
Yeah,
and
really good.
Kane. Had good teams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even the Rangers back in the day when they were playing those, they had good teams, right?
Yeah.
It's different, and it's just unfortunately, the Florida Panthers, even your Stanley Cup champions, they're just not. It's not a big city market. It's not a national team, and that's tough. And I don't know what they do with it. And we're diehard hockey fans, and we're not interested. And then when you have a lot of us are just obviously not watching, not paying attention, and we're down on it. And then we're not even looking forward to next year. We're not. It's not like it used to.
Well,
be.
look,
It's just terrible that the NHL, they got one job, one big game a year, right? Outside the playoffs,
yeah,
and the Stanley Finals.
and you know what?
This was
this was the second year in a row that they tried a different date too, because this was the second year that the college football playoff is obviously such a massive presence on New Year's Day with 3 games between noon and 3, 4, and 7. And
so shift it.
Well, last year they tried New Year's Eve, and that was the lowest ratings
Why does
ever.
it have to be around New Year's and the holidays?
January, because I think that's where it started, and that's kind of what it was attached to that day.
Yes, they started years ago because they didn't really have any competition for that day.
I would get away, maybe you're right. Maybe what's a day that they could take? Because I think they moved in on New Year's Day. This was way before the college football playoff, when the early bowls in the day, like nobody cared, and they had some space where they could get in there and maybe get a niche thing.
Why not February? Why not the middle of February?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Football's over.
Yeah.
College football's over. Middle of February.
I suppose. I'm looking for like a date, like something on the calendar that you go, that's the day the NHL has the Winter Classic.
And the Winter Classic in the same week. Make it a week in February.
Why don't you have the All-Star game on the outside at the Winter Classic? Like you said, that maybe put the All-Star game outside. Nobody's going to do that either. I know. That's just silly. The Rangers.
Maybe they play it before an NFL playoff game.
Having a lead-in like that would be... I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I'll just give you an example. Saturday, the NFL's playing at 4:30 and 8. Why aren't you maybe play at 12 o'clock on Saturday or 1 o'clock on Saturday leading into the NFL? But it's not on the same. I don't know.
Look,
I don't know what the answer is.
It's a logistic nightmare, too, because they got to put ice outside. They've got to get either a baseball stadium or a football stadium, right?
Yeah.
So it's a shame. It is what it is. Have it in Buffalo every year. Just do it there. Or Michigan.
Well, I saw that report that for the 20th anniversary, they are going to have it in Buffalo at Highmark.
Just have McDavid in it every year until he runs out of his prime, and just rotate in like the Avalanche and McKinnon and the top players.
Yeah,
it's not our problem.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
It's not our problem.
Rangers don't play again until tomorrow night at home against the Sabres. The Islanders are in Nashville tomorrow night. The Devils if they're in Pittsburgh tomorrow night. I'm very interested to see how the Devils play on tomorrow night after getting waxed the way that they did last night.
They're all still close to a wild card spot, so nothing to really worry
Everybody
about.
Is still close to a wild card
all
spot.
The rosters were released.
Yeah, are you excited?
The Olympics.
I will say, and I usually don't bellyache about these things, because I like at the end of the day, whatever. United States. How do you not have Jason Robertson on the team? That guy is ridiculous.
You could go down.
I know.
The point leaders in the league right now there's about 7 or 8 other different guys that should be on the roster. Anyway,
I know
the Canadian roster is the most potent roster. If they lose, I'll be shocked.
They're very dangerous. I think they're one thing that you maybe could poke a hole in, but the guy's one is Binnington, and I think that. But he's won a cup. He won the Four Nations last. He's been in big spots and he's done it. He's easy to rattle. If you want to try to, maybe he's not. I think he plays better when he's rattled, to be quite honest with you. So maybe that's not. Maybe to bore him is the way. Get him bored. I don't think he plays well I think he plays better rattled. Jordan Binnington. So we do have that in a few weeks, which will be awesome. Getting the Olympics going. Knicks have looked bad the last few weeks. We'll try to talk about them a little bit more tomorrow. Really awful effort in Detroit the other night against the Pistons. Awful effort at home against the Sixers on Saturday night.
Weird dip after playing
they're at home for the Clippers tonight. The Clippers have actually started playing a little bit better. So but They need to bounce back tonight, the Knicks. Cats had a couple bad games. He had a bad game the other night in Detroit. They got to right some wrongs here this evening at the Garden against the Clippers. So, and St. John's got off the deck too. They had an awful loss over the weekend to Providence at the Garden, and they won at Butler last night by like 14. So the Johnnies got themselves back going a little bit too there. And tomorrow I'll give you the Hofstra basketball update. We'll let you know what's happening with them.
Sounds
going
good.
forward. All right, Go Sports Radio, really fast, Paulie. One more time. Do this really fast one more time before we get out of here.
All right, once again, coming up this week, I'll just do this weekend. Coming up this weekend at Borrelli's 912 Beach Street, Borrelli's Taproom.com. The music of Josh Sticks, Friday night at 7 p.m. And then Saturday night is Ryan Scarano at 7 p.m. And then on Sunday Fun Day here, DJ TM Select will be here at 6 p.m. All the crazy, super wild card games, college football, everything going on in between here this weekend at Borrelli's. And hit the website and search Eventbrite for the comedy series coming up here too. Two big comedy shows, Anthony Radia and Joe List. And then we'll have more tomorrow as far as what else is going on.
I just read the story. SNY's Connor Hughes says that the Giants are, quote, all in on John Harbaugh. All in. They're pushing the chips, Paulie, to the middle. We'll see if anything happens.
Maybe he'll be head coach by tomorrow when we get back on the air.
I guess anything's possible. Carver and Cuthbert, Go Sports Radio, Borrelli's Taproom Long Beach. We're back tomorrow, noon East, here at Borrelli's for a Thursday Who You Got Thursday show with all the wild card games, the college football playoff games, etc., etc. See you tomorrow.